You know, I know someone who used to people please a lot. And then one day, someone told her, if your answer is not a yes, then it's a no.
But most things are not.
Then it's a no!
Yeah.
Hi, it's Hazel.
Hey, it's Azura.
And I'm Germaine.
And welcome back to another episode of Clarities
Hush Podcast.
Now, if you're tuning into this episode and you find that you're the type of people who always say yes when you more rather say no, this app is for you, okay?
Oh my
In
gosh.
today's episode, we're diving deep into the art of people-pleasing and why we often get stuck in this cycle.
I think it's something that afflicts a lot of us. And we brought on an expert today. This is a people pleaser life coach. She specializes in that. But not only that, she's also a certified sound healing practitioner. She is a relationship coach and an entrepreneur. Please welcome V.
Hi guys! Thank you so
welcome.
much for having me here. Okay, I wouldn't call myself an expert, okay? But yeah, I am running my own little company, mainly doing sound healing and also coaching, specializing in relationships and people-pleasing behavior. So this company of mine, it's called InfiniV, because I believe that there are infinite ways to heal, and my name starts with V. Yeah, it's just like that.
Well, I love that.
V for what? I'm guessing Vanessa.
Yes.
Vernetta. Well, I love that. And, you know, I've always been very intrigued by like chakra work, spiritual healing, and Reiki. So, very interested to pick your mind today and also on how we can heal from being a people pleaser.
That's
All
right.
right.
Yeah.
And I feel like people-pleasing is a trait that's very evident, especially in Asian cultures or Asian countries. I would call myself a people-pleaser.
Yeah, so would I.
Right?
You just want to appease someone else. Like, and in Asian culture, you're very polite.
Yeah.
You just
Yes.
go out of your way to help someone else, kind of thing.
I think you're taught from young to always like think about others' feelings, what they may think. And I think we carry that with us and it becomes these behaviors lah.
Yeah. So, V, what is people pleasing to you?
Okay, so people-pleasing is a behavioral tendency whereby we tend to put the needs, wants, and desires of others over our own at the expense of our own mental wellness and our boundaries. So this is characterized by behaviors such as over-apologizing,
Oh my gosh, that's me!
Yikes.
saying yes just to maintain the peace, not expressing our true thoughts, and just going along with what everybody wants, basically. You tend to don't really have a sense of self.
I think that's a bit harsh to say like you don't have a sense of self. I sometimes feel like it's almost like you have a need to, you know, just want to make peace. And sometimes you forget what you really want at the sake of appeasing others.
Exactly.
You tend to lose the sense of self that was once there.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's true.
There's a range to this, right? I mean, you know, it's not one size fits all, right?
Definitely not.
Right.
Yeah.
So, an example, this year I was going through the renovation for my place and everything, and I was constantly texting my ID. I did not realize that I was over apologizing. Like for every text I sent him, I'll be like, oh, 不好意思, I'm so sorry, can you help me with this? Oh, I'm so sorry, can you help me with that? And to which he was like, yes, okay, I'll do this, I'll do that. And last but not least, stop saying sorry.
Oh.
So he
You got
actually,
called out.
yes, he brought that up to me, and I was like, oh, I did not realize I was saying sorry. Like with every text that I sent him.
Why do we do that actually? Because I find myself like doing that every time I ask for a favor, or even if it's not a favor, right? It's something that the other person is supposed to be doing. I feel sorry for inconveniencing them.
Yeah.
Why is that such a common thing?
It's that lack of self-worth, actually. A lot of us are stuck in this
Oh my
thought
God.
Hey,
whereby
but I feel like I'm worth a lot leh.
maybe deep down inside, to a certain extent, there's a bit of insecurity, and that longing for external validation is actually pretty common
Is it because we feel like we're being an inconvenience?
to a certain extent. But there's no hard and fast rule.
I'm really shocked.
Mortified.
I am mortified. So you're saying that we over apologize because we feel like we're not enough?
To a certain extent.
Oh.
Yes, deep down inside. It's something that we don't really think about.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
subconscious.
Yeah, I mean, like in Singapore, it's quite a fast-paced lifestyle. How
Of course.
often do we just sit back and reflect on how it is that we are behaving? What is the why behind why we do things? Even the apologizing part.
Wait,
Why do we
question.
always start that way?
Do you over apologize?
Yes, in the past, I did this a lot.
Ooh.
But when I started becoming a bit more conscious of like starting my sentences with sorry,
Yeah.
then I realized, why am I sorry? I don't need to be sorry.
I find this a lot in Asian cultures and especially with women. Like when I went to America, every time like I wanted to get past in the hour, I'd be like, sorry, excuse me. They'd be like, you're fine, you have to apologize. I was like, oh, yeah, that's true. I don't have to apologize. Why am I saying sorry? I'm just trying to get past, right? But it's almost like, it's like a habit.
Yeah.
It comes so naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think we're taught here as well that it's a polite thing to say. Like,
Oh.
we don't actually realize that we're apologizing, you know? Like, we're
Yeah.
using it not as a sorry, like an apology, but
Exactly.
we're using it because it sounds polite.
Yeah.
And sometimes it even becomes like a conversation starter. Like even in, let's say, our radio DJs lives, we'll be like, sorry, what time are we coming back on air?
Yes.
Sorry, what time are you playing this song? But why do we have to say sorry?
Hey, sorry, ask you,
Yeah.
It's one of the, ways to combat that, to replace it with a different word, like excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Or like, hey, what time are we coming back?
hey, hey, yo. Hey, yo, auntie, can you move out of the way?
That works too. Like
Yeah.
really.
Well,
it does.
actually, that works.
Wow.
But do you find like this people-pleasing thing is more common in women than in men?
Actually, to me, yes, but it is not a gender thing. In fact, there are certain origins of people pleasing that are more catered to men. There's this thing called the faux dad paradigm. So that one is more for guys having to fit in the roles of a father, the man of the house at an early stage. So that one not so much for women, but in general, in my coaching sessions, I like to talk about this thing called people pleasing styles. So there are quite a number, but the one that I feel a lot of women fall under would be this dissociative people pleasing. So what happens over here is that people are controlled by this idea of what they're supposed to be, this identity, a perceived identity, which could be the good girl, the girl who always keeps her mouth shut, the girl who loves to help around the house, the one that will be a good housewife in future, and we're stuck with that. And I mean, even in school, like for me, at least when I was younger, I still remember it was in kindergarten. I would see the boys are always the ones getting scolded. They're always running around very happy, making a lot of noise. And then the teachers would be like, look at the girls over there. They're so quiet. So we have been taught since young that, that's the good image to have.
reward you for that behavior.
Yeah.
I think this is very apt, on what Azura said, that people pleasing is a spectrum.
Yes.
At maybe a lower end of the spectrum are things like over apologizing. But at the higher end of the spectrum, it could shape your entire life because you want to please society or you want to fit into a mold and you go into something that you don't even like just to please people, please your parents, please society.
Yeah. So one of the origins, another origin of people pleasing is called the lauding cycle. So in the lauding cycle, you are lauded, you are praised for fitting into that norm that may not really be you, but you were taught since young that, that's the way to be. That's how I should behave in order to get praised. I want to get praised. It's a nice feeling. Yeah. So we get stuck in that.
I'm traumatized.
Yeah, I know. It sounds like a lot of like childhood trauma
Yeah.
that shapes us, to
But-
become like that.
Technically, I wouldn't call people pleasing a bad thing because there's good that comes out
Hot
of it.
take, hot take.
Right? Now, I feel that. Okay, so I have a colleague, shout out to Germaine. She's the nicest being ever. Like in Joseon-san, she's always there to help every single DJ, every single colleague. I wouldn't call her a people pleaser, but I do know for a fact that it's hard for her to say no. And sometimes I empathize with that. But as a result, whenever she needs help from us as jocks, we would go all out to help her. So, that's good that comes out of it. She is seen as a very nice person that we wouldn't want to hurt, that all of us would want to go out of our way to help her because she's helped us first.
I think that's really great, but it also depends on the kind of environment. Like, it's really great that you guys are the nice kind that will reciprocate her kindness. But imagine if someone was placed in an environment where everyone's like taking advantage of you, then she wouldn't feel the same in such a state.
I think I had to confront this people-pleasing tendency in myself probably sometime last year. I reached a point of like really bad burnout and I realized that, I was saying yes to too many things just to like almost like protect my place in the industry. Because everyone that invites you to something, you kind of don't want to turn them down. You want to give them a bit of yourself. You want to give them a piece of your time to show them that, they are important to you. And at the end of the day, who suffers? It's me. I suffer. I'm miserable. And that's not a way to live life. Yeah.
One thing I realized about Jeremy is she would say yes to a lot of media invites. That's good. It's a win-win thing because then you get to update your social media content. But at the same time, as a friend, I'm concerned for you as to whether you have time for yourself to just rest, to be with your loved ones or not.
That's a very valid point. Yeah. I'm trying to reclaim some of that time for myself and just tell myself, hey, I deserve my own time too, not just everyone else. And what I'm left with is sitting with that guilt of not going to this or not saying yes or saying no. It's that guilt that's like, I feel bad, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I know someone who used to people please a lot. And then one day someone told her, if your answer is not a fuck yes, then it's a no.
But most things are not.
That is a no.
Yeah.
So you have to be really absolute and sure. Is
And
what
I
you're
think
saying.
from then on, she sort of like stopped, you know, like spreading herself too thin and just really made sure that it was something she really wanted to do. I think a lot of us might not get to that point because to a certain extent, we still feel like we have obligations or, you know, we
It's
just...
for work. It's for
Yeah.
this. Yeah. I mean, V, you've seen a lot of people pleasers. You're a people pleaser life coach. What are some of the worst cases you've seen? How has people pleasing affected their lives?
The worst ones I would say is when they have panic attacks at work. They let it be such a huge part of their life that they can't stop it at work, at home, everywhere. But it's especially at work when if you break down, you have a panic attack, you then become a bit more anxious and like, oh no, I need to fix this even more. And you become even more of a people pleaser. And then because you are becoming more of a people pleaser, you end up...
Being more anxious.
Yes. So
And it's a
an
vicious
endless
cycle.
Oh,
yeah.
gosh.
Oh my God.
Another friend in the industry was just telling me about this, that she knows someone who is just so nervous all the time that when they're just having a normal conversation like you and I, she would visually see hives breaking out
Are you kidding?
on that person's face because she got so stressed over the work issue that they're talking about.
Aiyo.
So she does not know, like this person she's talking to, she doesn't know how to say no, how to reject people. She takes everything in and like hives will just break out on her face. And that makes my friend so stressed because then she's like, oh, I don't know whether to continue this conversation or not, or should I be working with someone else? But that person she's talking to really wants to maintain that working relationship. So all the more she will go all out to say yes.
Oh my God, I can actually empathize with that
Right.
because, okay, actually, I was one of those people who broke out in hives.
Oh my
as well, so I
gosh.
can,
Oh my
like, hit a spot,
gosh.
guys. I know. Yes.
On your face?
Yes, on my face. It will be only on my face, and I don't know why. I did not figure that out, but I know that I will feel some heat when I'm stressed, and then the hives just come.
I think that's a physiological
Wow.
thing. It's your body trying to
Yep.
protect you and,
Correct.
and get rid of the toxins and
Yes.
the negative feelings, and
Yep.
it just comes out as hives.
Well, how long
Yeah.
do they take to go away?
Maybe about 1 to 2 hours for me. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. We have some stories here actually from Reddit
Okay.
about people pleasers and how they've kind of like recovered from that. This one is from a user called Additional Guest. She says that my people pleasing tendencies made me stay too long in roles and jobs that treated me like crap because unfortunately my self-worth was tied to my job. I've cancelled dates with my boyfriend and my friends to work, and yet when I needed my shifts covered, no one would help me. I carry everyone else's burdens, but when I needed support, I was left alone. And my friendships were often very one-sided. When I moved just 20 minutes away from my friends, people said that I was too far, but I've traveled much longer to see my friends. It was only after moving to a new state with no one checking in, I realized that I was truly on my own. And now I've learned my worth in the workplace. I quit toxic jobs without feeling too sensitive. I set boundaries and I prioritize my health. I even set boundaries with a friend who's always in crisis mode, right? Someone who's always like, I need you, I need you, I need you. And sometimes, you feel like you want to give everything to them. But this person has said, now I can say, I don't have the bandwidth. Let's reschedule. So I fill my own cup first before helping someone else. This is like on a plane, right? When they say like emergency landing,
Yes.
they always tell you,
Save
put on
yourself first.
Your own
put
oxygen
on
mask
your own
first.
oxygen mask before you put on, even like your child.
Yeah.
Put on your own first. I think this reminds me of that.
I think this is a very real journey that many of us go through. It's really great that this person has managed to come out of that state, knowing that that doesn't serve you, that kind of life being treated that way is not okay. I feel like we need to be familiar with our own boundaries, our own limits. Because if we've been people-pleasing, we've probably been people-pleasing for a really long time. It's not something that just happens overnight. So it's very easy for this to become an autopilot response. So you have to set that time aside and reflect, truly reflect on like the way that person treated me. Is that really okay? Am I genuinely okay with that? So we need to be in touch with ourselves and then make a really firm decision on whether we want to continue being that way or not.
I think this reminds me of myself a little bit because I think I used to people please a lot more than I do now. But I also I'm very 0 to 100. So it's the flip of a switch, right? I used to never know how to leave anything. Like, I've never left a job. I don't know how to leave a relationship. But at the same time, I'll stick it out. And then when I'm done, you're dead.
It kind of like, it explodes in her mind. It goes boom. And then she's like, eh.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And then so sometimes it's like, I don't really find myself going out of my way to please someone, but I think it's also very 0 to 100. It's either I care or I don't. And it's like a...
But you're able to make that switch immediately.
Not really.
Not
I think,
really.
yeah, the problem, I think the problem is that sometimes it's not that you go out of your way to please people, but you just kind of stick it through, even though it causes you anguish, because you don't want to inconvenience someone or you don't want to disappoint someone. And that's all also part of people pleasing. Yeah.
Like this next story here, written by a guy online, he says, oftentimes I ended up giving up a girl I had a crush on to friends who were more obsessed with them.
What? Why?
That's so sad, right? But anyway, he says this happened constantly when he was younger and he lost out on a few girls he really liked and felt a connection with. Looking back, maybe it was for the best because he probably would have ruined those relationships as a people pleaser. So he realizes that, right? And he says he guess his people pleasing tendencies came from his childhood trauma, being bullied, and he doesn't like conflicts, so he tried to keep the peace by pleasing others. And guess what? He's a victim of racism. Growing up, I think he had to face this insecurity in his heart. That's why he constantly felt like he was not good enough for the girls he felt a connection with.
Yeah, so all the more you try to, prove yourself, right? I think it's almost like a defense mechanism. Yeah, at that point.
Hey, this really reminds me of Wicked, the movie.
Yeah,
When Elphaba is really like trying to fit in.
that's true.
Okay, anyways, so question to V. What are some of the practical ways we can disrupt the pattern of people pleasing? So here are a few examples. Tell us how you would navigate around them, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so how to say no in a non-guilty way.
Okay.
Number 1 is a last-minute work request. Your boss asks you to stay late to finish a project, but you've already got a personal commitment that you cannot reschedule. How do you turn down your boss while keeping it professional?
So the first thing I would ask is, okay, so when is this due? Is there an urgent deadline?
Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning. Okay, I'll get it done by tomorrow morning, but I will not be able to stay tonight as I have a personal commitment. I'll make sure it's done by then.
I think it depends.
To
Like,
finish
was this really, it was a last minute request,
Last minute,
right?
yeah.
Then it shouldn't have been a last minute request because your life doesn't just revolve around your job. If you had given the employee ample time and the deadline is tomorrow morning and she hasn't finished it, I think your employee should be staying late because you've given them ample time.
Correct.
But if this is a last minute request, it's like, my life revolves around your schedule, man?
I would want to understand like what is this project first. Yeah, but once I find out about it and I have to check in my own capacity, do I have the capacity to do that? Because for me personally, if I have a commitment, I will still want to go for my personal commitment. Just that if this is really truly important and the circumstances around it are that really this is something that only I can do by that point of time, then I'll just find a way to get that done to the best of my ability. But then I will not forego that thing that I was supposed to attend because that's my priority. Yeah.
Well, you gotta really be very firm and just like, this is my time.
I have a
kind of thing.
question. If you tend to phrase it in such a way like, oh, how important or how urgent is it? Like asking the sort of questions to your boss instead of going straight to saying like, oh, I've got a commitment and I can't do it. But if you, try and like accommodate, does that make you a people pleaser?
I think it depends how you want to look at it actually. For me, I'm finding out facts so that I know whether it makes sense or not for me to complete it by then. So if he tells me the context and I recognize that this is something, okay, I think I can get it done, just not now. You just have to accept that, okay, not now. But I do need to know the information first. And if it's really something that I can't handle, then I'll be like, sorry, I don't think I can do that today. Yeah.
Okay, how about this one, right? So all your friends want you to go out to a party, but you're really drained and you're really tired and you would rather stay at home. How do you kind of like decline this offer to go out without making it seem like you don't want to not be invited next time. You don't want to be like party pooper, but you're just really, really tired today.
So I'll just be quite straightforward with okay, I'm going to pass today, but please go ahead and have fun. I'll see you guys at the next party.
Oh. So it puts it in their mind, like, invite me next time kind of thing.
See you.
Okay, this next one, I think this is very sensitive. A friend who has a history of not paying back asked to borrow a significant amount of money. You're uncomfortable lending it to him, but you don't want to hurt the friendship. What do you say?
This actually happened to me before.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I told, it was a girl, I told her that I'm actually not very comfortable with lending out big sums of money. It's not against you personally. I'm just personally not very comfortable. But please let me know if there's any other thing that I can do to help and I'll see if I can help there.
Are you still friends?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
I love that.
Actually, I had a conversation with a couple of friends about this, and one of my friends said, like, when people ask to borrow money, he would just straight up say, I don't like getting money involved in friendship, so I will not do it. And I was like, oh,
But I think it
wow.
also
Fair.
depends how big the sum is. Like, how big was the sum?
20K.
Oh,
Wow, I mean,
I
that's
thought $20.
Yeah.
Oh, $20 fine, go.
Yeah, $3 take.
20K.
20K is a big sum. Did she
Yeah.
have a legit reason? Like, did she tell you
She
why
did.
she
I
needed?
asked about it, and then she
Okay.
did say like some family stuff.
How close of a friend? Like, is she your best friend?
No, not a best friend, but just a friend.
But even if it was your best friend,
I don't think I would
don't
because
think
I'm
so.
not comfortable. And
Got
I
it.
mean, we're close enough, so we
Yeah.
should be able to be honest and candid about what we really feel.
well, here's the thing, right? It's very hard for me to say no. Like, for example, it can be anything. It can be a family gathering. It can be a work event. It can be a social event, right? And I don't want to go. Not because I have something else to do, but just because I want that time to myself. I don't have anything else to do. And that's the part that really gets me because in my calendar, it's empty.
Yeah.
I could fill it up.
But it
How
doesn't
do
mean
I-
you need to.
But how do I turn it down without saying, like, I just want to be by myself? Like, I don't want to
But
be.
just say you have other work commitments.
Just lie?
Yeah, I do that all the time. Sorry.
V, what do you think?
Okay, I think it's actually really common, this approach, honestly, to just
To lie? Okay.
say you're busy with something else, but it's not exactly a lie. You are busy with something else, which is
Yourself.
Yourself.
it's okay.
Exactly.
It is something else. It's
Okay.
not nothing. Doing nothing is something, you know?
Yeah. I
Ah.
fully agree. And I think sleeping and resting well is also part of our profession. I have to put this out there to all the people who are like working overtime. I know I'm a workaholic myself,
Yeah.
but 6 to 8 hours of sleep minimally every day, I think is the bare
Hazy
minimum.
impresses me, honestly. I don't know how she gets the amount of sleep in.
That's
Really?
true. With the amount
Yeah.
of things that she seems to be doing, like
Yeah. Yesterday night I
Self-care,
drink until 2 a.m.
Every time she posts and she's like, happy because I got 8 hours of sleep, I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
really?
I was like, how?
How?
Well, I had to cancel my gym appointment this morning. Never happened in the past 3 years because I was drinking till too late last night. And I just didn't think I would show up for the podcast in a good state if I had gone for the gym appointment.
Yeah.
So I put it off till next week and I decided to sleep in, got 7 hours of rest, and here I am, all energized.
Ah, I love that.
You gain some, you lose some.
Yeah, I guess.
So when you see your patients, do you call them patients?
Clients.
Clients. Sorry. When you see your clients, right? What would the remedy be? Like, what kind of like action plan would you put them on to kind of like heal from being a people pleaser?
Usually it's like I would encourage journaling. I typically leave an assignment at the end which involves reflection,
Okay.
diving deep to understand yourself. I would also recommend things like meditation, even though it may not be a habit for many people, but there's a lot of benefits that can come from meditation. And like just go take a walk has been one of my assignments before.
Love
walk
taking
in
walks.
nature, just being with yourself at peace.
How does that help with the people pleasing side of things?
Because people pleasers tend to be quite on the anxious side because it makes them stress like I'm not able to please someone. What if I do this and then that's gonna happen? So your mind is very hectic. It's like a highway.
Well,
going
sounds
on up there.
familiar.
Is it?
So you do need to slow down. So as a first step, I would encourage you to do things that will help your mind slow down. Sound healing, honestly, is one of the ways as well because you're slowing the brain waves down. There's like calmness, a sense of calm that washes over you. And you can get this in nature as well. But sound does it in a bit more like a layered manner. But you can, for more easily attainable things, it would be just journaling or going to a nice quiet spot, hanging around in nature.
What are some questions people can ask themselves to take a step back and reflect?
One of the things would be, what is my trigger?
Can you have an example of that? What would a trigger be like?
For example, maybe the moment a boss says like, you need to do this for me. So every time he hears, you need to do this for me, then he might get triggered. And then he will be like, oh, okay, now I need to
drop
immediately
everything and
do
right.
that. Yeah. So after that, it would be to ask yourself, what are you feeling? Why am I feeling that way? Is it true or is it just a belief that I have?
Right.
Yeah. So when you question your own beliefs, it will help in that regulation and you will know, or you might know next time if you want to switch a different route. Like, do you really want to continue that autopilot thing where, oh, boss tells me to do this and then I will go and do it right away? Or do you want to be like, that's not what I'm thinking right now. I'm actually feeling this is unfair. I'm actually really tired. I think someone else can do this today.
And you would tell your boss that?
No.
Oh.
But then like manage it. But then of course, I mean, you might have some colleagues around you that are genuinely cool with you. And then like maybe can tell them like, okay, I'm really having a lot on my plate right now. Do you think you can help me with this? Yeah, a lot of it is encouraging authenticity. Like if you're honest with yourself, then you can be more honest with others as well.
But what if nobody can help you?
If nobody can help you, you have to talk to your boss. You have to have that talk. I know it's scary, it's intimidating, but personally, like I've had to do that as well. I used to be a police officer actually.
What?
You are many things, babe.
Now?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, so it was very necessary for me at a certain point to manage his expectations and say, sir, I'm struggling.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you have to. I know, like, we need to keep up this certain image and, like, be like, we're on the ball, we have to do this, we have to do it. And we do. It's really, really important work. But if you are not okay, the work is not going to be okay either. And you need to spare a thought for yourself and the people involved. Yeah.
Very fair, very fair. And would you say you're a reformed people pleaser?
Okay, so I want to clarify that there's actually no such thing as a reformed and ex-people pleaser. You're either a recovering people pleaser or you were never a people pleaser at all.
Oh,
We're recovering.
Because people pleasing is like an addiction. It's like you're addicted to drugs. There's no cure for that. There's only ways to manage it. And you just get better at managing it over time. But there's always that risk of relapse. Yeah.
Damn.
No, I feel like I should count the number of times I say sorry every day from now on.
I have a question leh. A lot of people pleasing comes from trying to take care of somebody else's feelings. How do you still do that without sacrificing yourself? Because you don't want someone else to feel bad as well. You know what I mean?
But sometimes you just have to feel bad.
Yeah, you need to know your own boundaries and your own limits, actually. When you're truthful with what you're really okay with and what you're not, you'll be able to find some sort of a sweet spot, but there is give and take.
And that's why reflection is so important and quieting your mind and really thinking. Like sometimes you're moving so fast throughout the day, you're just doing things without realizing you're not okay with that. So I hear you. So as a recovering people pleaser, how has setting boundaries, like how have you benefited from really working on that part of your life?
I'm less drained actually because I used to feel really drained at the end of the day, and sometimes I even built resentment towards the people that I've helped in a certain way.
Right.
Oh my gosh, all the time. Hey. Okay, so less drained.
Okay.
So that's actually the key thing. Less drained, and I think my relationships are more authentic right now, like with my friends and family and my partner. So we're just more honest with each other. When I'm more honest, they feel more comfortable being honest as well about the things that they might not actually be okay with. Then everything feels more real.
Yeah, that's a good point. One thing I realized is that when you have so much on your plate and you take something else on, even if this something else is something that you're truly passionate about, you end up hating it. Because you can't perform to the best of ability, you are not able to enjoy it.
Yeah. And then you blame yourself and then it's like, oh my gosh.
And then the thing doesn't turn out well,
Yeah.
and then everything's just a mess.
Yeah.
I have a very good friend. She says sorry like every single time I see her, even if it's like I ask
Are
her.
you the friend?
No, she's worse than me. I'm telling you, that's bad. Okay, every time I ask her out, okay, are you free next Wednesday for dinner? Oh no, so sorry, I cannot make it because I have to go for this, that. I say, oh, it's okay. How about Friday? Oh no, so sorry, I can't do
I
this.
will also say sorry leh.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
To me, I feel like you don't have to say sorry. Just tell me you can't make it, and then we reschedule, right? Because I feel like saying sorry puts her in a more inferior position that I don't want to see her in because she's a very good friend of mine, right? And she feels inferior. Why feel inferior? It's just a meeting. It's just a meet up for dinner, right? Just reschedule. And then at the same time, I'm doing like this self-reflection on myself. Hey, am I doing that? Actually, to a certain extent, yes.
But sometimes I reschedule so many times until I feel very bad.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I've been trying to meet this friend like since before she went on maternity leave. She just gave birth today. I haven't met her. And she was like, you want to come to the hospital? I was like, shit, I really cannot. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, I feel so bad.
Okay lah, never mind lah. 100 days party lah. Go to her house.
Maybe I'll see her when the kid is like 5 years old at this point.
At some point though, at some point, you will be there.
At some point. But I really, really value today's conversation. It made me realize we say sorry a lot,
Yeah.
Yes.
but that's not the only thing that, you know, affects you when you have people-pleasing tendencies. I think we're all recovering people-pleasers here.
For sure. V, any last words you want to say to our listeners and viewers out there who are people pleasers?
You are enough in your being, not in your doing. We're called human beings for a reason. You are enough just by being you.
Aww,
thank you.
I'm gonna tell everyone that from now on, every time I don't want to do something.
Babe, we have no problem with that, babe.
I am enough.
Out of all of us, you have no problem with saying no.
I just want to be and yeah.
Well, I learned so much from this episode. Thank you so much, V, for being with us today.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at isclarity.co.
That's right. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Me Listen, turn on your notifications.
Don't feel sorry if you don't watch us on YouTube. It's okay. We
You
spent a long time setting up the set.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
our
okay,
team put
it's
in
okay.
a lot of effort into it, but don't feel sorry.
Or passive aggressiveness. for the
Just
next
kidding.
app.
We'll see you guys. Bye. Mine come out as tears lah. I cry all the time.
Oh, yeah.
That's great.
I don't think crying is a bad thing, but,
Yeah, of
but
course.
it does baffle some people. They're like, "Why are you always crying?"
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know where the emotions go to. They come out in tears.
I
to be
call
released.
it overactive tear ducts. So just ignore, please.
Can she diagnose herself?
Yeah, I guess.